Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Cocktail Hour. I am Meg.
And I'm Nikki. If you're a vendor heading to a wedding this weekend, this episode is dedicated to you.
So today we have a few stories. A client who wants all, capital, bold, all the photos. A not so fun wedding and a situation where it seems like every single person dropped the ball. I feel like it's that meme of the three Spider-Mans all pointing at each other where it's like, no, you fucked up. No, you fucked up. So excited to share that one with you. But before we do that,
I saw your story on the cocktail hour where you dropped in the words, but you didn't even put in commas, spaces. They were all just randomized.
do you know why? That's because that is copy paste how I had written it for myself.
Because looking at it now, I'm like, okay, this makes a lot more sense. And I'm wondering if the All American Rejects thing is because you saw a reel or a TikTok, which I know you're not on TikTok, of them. Were they at this grad party?
Oh no, they were not. That would have been cool if they were at this grad party.
Because for a second there, I was like, maybe they were at this grad party. But did you see a reel of how they were at the bowling alley over here for like $5?
Yeah.
Did you have FOMO?
100%.
Me too.
I saw it and I was like, this is every millennial's dream. If there was anyone but a millennial in that bar or the bowling alley, I hope they kick them out.
They don't deserve it.
You. Yeah, I saw some videos. But yeah, now on the document where I have it separated, it makes more sense. But I think you should go first, and then
I don't really have a lot.
That's her.
We
saw each
just
other days
recorded 2 days ago.
Did you do anything work related? I feel like you took this weekend off. Well deserved.
Yeah, I was trying not to work anything. I've actually turned away work before leaving for Italy because I truly believe in work-life balance and I love my time off. Like this weekend, I was like, oh, so this is what life would be like every weekend in the summer if I didn't have a job where I work every weekend.
Yeah.
Because we literally spent the entire weekend outside. We went canoeing down the St. Croix River. We went to Stillwater. Our dog is like a great canoe dog, so he just sits there and lays there. We docked off at a beach, and that was it.
That sounds amazing.
I know, and it was.
It is funny, those random days I'll get during the summer, and I'm like, oh,
This is the life.
This is the life. I'm not responding to any DM, any email. I will also say, now that it's wedding season, you should just expect that your wedding vendors are going to take a little bit to get back to your email. And I'm not, number one, do not expect an answer from anyone Friday through Sunday.
Never.
They are at weddings. They are not working.
Even if they're not working a wedding job, that's the weekend.
Yeah.
Like anybody who's expecting a response in that time frame, I think is really unhinged and just has too high of expectations.
Agreed. And I get, if it's like a couple weeks before your wedding, the week of your wedding, yes, I would expect that your specific vendors would be a little bit more hasty in your communication. But if you're 9 months out and you're up their ass, like,
no,
I emailed you Friday night, it's Sunday night, you still haven't responded, go away.
Yeah, I'm not, and now I'm not going to respond. Like, what? What are you talking about?
Deleted your email.
Also,
the people what you got coming up.
Well, I went to the farmer's market. I was going to talk about that. So my friend and I went to the Mill City Farmer's Market, which is in like the Mill City district. Never been. Neither of us had been. And we were like, let's go. I will say we were disappointed. It was very... Like there were a lot of food vendors, and I think maybe it hasn't been around
like
for as long.
Food, like food trucks,
yes,
almost.
Like food trucks, like a lot of bakeries, like a lot of like baked goods, and there was a really long line for like breakfast sandwiches or breakfast bagels that they had, which must be really great. But everything was like not right. There were no like fresh flowers to pick from. There were like hanging basket flowers or stuff like that.
Yeah, the like $50 arrangements.
Yeah.
The Mill City one, is that over there by like the Trader Joe's, like on Washington?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes. So right by like Mill City
teensy.
Ruins and the Mill City Museum. It's like literally right there.
Gotcha.
And it is very small, but I mean it was cute. We were like, okay, well now we know this is cute for like just a morning walk.
Yeah.
So we hiked it over directly to the Minneapolis Farmers Market. For anybody who hasn't been, you have to go. I bought
That's a
4
bit of a
dresses
hike.
for Italy. No, it's 10 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm misunderstanding where the Minneapolis Farmers Market is.
Minneapolis Farmers Market's like kind of by Basilica a little bit.
That was only a 10-minute walk from Mill
Drive.
City?
We did not actually
Okay.
hike.
That's what I thought you meant. So I was like, that's one corner of
That
the
would have been
downtown
like
to
a
the
2-hour walk.
Thank you. So when you said 10 minutes, I was like, I'm clearly mistaken.
We were sprinting the whole time. We were sprinting. We got there. We were sweating our asses off. No, we drove. Absolutely love it. I bought this woman. Let's just talk about sales really quick, because the moment you walk in, the very first booths or stands on one of the corners is all like little clothing boutique-y stuff. This woman was selling me.
Yeah.
She was like, "Hi ladies, how's it going?" And we're like, "Oh, we're good. We're just looking." And then she's like, "Girl, I love your cherry top. Look at this cherry dress I have. It is perfect for you. We have a dressing room. Try it on." Mind you, the dressing room was about from where that curtain cuts off to where I am. And my friend and I are in there trying stuff on butt to butt.
I was going to say, they call that a moon landing.
I actually tried on a dress fully. The dressing room was taken. And so I was like, you know what? Let me put this on. My friend held the dress up and I took my shirt off and I looked in a window reflection and I bought it. So yeah, I bought 3 dresses for Italy, which I love. And I leave in less than 10 days.
I'm so excited for you. I am. I'm so excited. Why are you laughing?
I'm not.
I'm excited.
A week from tomorrow, I leave.
I am sad that you will be gone. I feel like it might be the longest that I have not.
It's a long time.
Graced you with my presence, but I'm excited to see your photos. I'm excited to see what you guys
excited
do. The weddings.
Yes. I will say, I was telling my friend that I was like a little anxious about it because I have in my old age become such a homebody that like even going to Mexico with my mom for 10 days just felt like such a long time. And this is a over 10 days, 2-week trip, whatever, 13 days, I think. And my friend who I'm going with, her mom is coming. So like she'll have her mom. When I travel, like to be alone a lot too. So like I have to obviously tell people like, don't think I'm a big cunt because I want just to like sit alone and maybe read a book by myself for a little bit, whatever. But I told my friend that I was at the farmer's market with, I was like, I think it's better that I feel this way now rather than going into a trip being like so overly excited, which I am very excited, obviously, but feeling like, oh my God. And then getting there and being like, oh, I feel so insanely homesick. Like I'd rather feel really homesick now.
Well, that you can prep for it mentally.
Exactly. Kind of. And like get my homesickness out of the way, and then when I get there feel this like overwhelming wave of excitement of all the things that we're doing. So we're looking into a guy that I went to high school with actually was posting on his Instagram stories all this stuff, and I was like, oh, you're doing the exact trip in Italy that like I'm planning to do. Do you have any suggestions? And he said the Bernina Express, which is a train that takes you from Milan or somewhere in the Milan vicinity to this, like through the Swiss Alps to a town in Switzerland.
Yeah.
Because they're so close. They're neighboring countries. So we're going to do that. And that is my like number one, like when he told me that was my like number one, like, okay, I have to see that over anything else. Because we're not going to like the coast of Italy in terms of like the Amalfi Coast or anything like that. We're not doing that. We're doing Rome, an hour outside of Rome, and then Milan, and then Lake Como, and then we leave. So it's very like planned, scheduled, but that is one thing that he said he did, and he was like, that was my favorite thing that I've ever done, maybe ever.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, okay, we need to do that. And then the travel what do they call them? Travel agents. The
Oh,
travel
yeah.
agent who was helping us with our trip sent that exact thing in the plan or whatever, and I was like, okay, done. Like I'm on there.
Yeah.
I need to do it.
Yeah.
I'm on an express train. So that's what I'm most looking forward to.
I am jealous.
Yeah.
Not jealous, but because I know that I hate traveling. And when I say that, I just mean the act of the travel.
For sure.
Once I get to my destination, I'm like, cool.
But it takes a lot out of you, and especially traveling, like we're flying overnight. Our flight leaves, I think, at 7 o'clock here, p.m., and we're flying overnight to Dublin, and then we'll like get to Dublin at like 8:30 a.m. there, and then we still have to fly to Rome. So
Yeah.
it's like it's not an easy, like quick travel day where you can like stop your car and get out and stretch your legs. Like you're on a plane for a long time,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's gonna be. Everybody travels differently too. I think that's something that people like. I'm a very meticulous traveler in the fact that like if I stay in a hotel, I unpack all my things, I put all my things away. Like I'm like very, I don't know. That's a thing that I got from my mom because like that's how she travels.
Yeah.
And obviously from years of just growing up with her, it's like you just kind of pick up on these habits along the way. And I've come to learn that like not everybody's like that. Like everybody travels differently. Some people like to do things alone. Some people don't like to do things alone. Some people like to, I don't know, do things that maybe don't appeal to me. And I think that is the hard thing about traveling with people who you maybe haven't traveled with before is like just saying like, hey, and I love open communication. You know, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'll. Like, it's not personal. I just want to sit here and put my feet up for a little bit.
Well, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. There's these, like, idiosyncrasies that, as you know, everybody has. So getting used to them while you're traveling together, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like there's still things we've traveled quite a bit together or, like, seen those sides of each other. And there's still new things I'm sure we will constantly figure out just because we're complex individuals.
You know, that's just how the cookie crumbles.
Okay, my notes. You ready?
Yes.
I'm not ready. There we go. Okay. All American Rejects. We talked shortly about this, but yes, I have seen those videos.
Yes.
And it brought up a memory that I have of I have 2 songs I remember that were my first 2 songs purchased for 99 cents on the iTunes store, maybe even 79 cents.
Like
I'm dying. I was gonna say, Make Damn Sure by some band and an All American Rejects song.
What is it? I got it.
Move
I got
Along.
this.
Isn't it Move Along?
But we need to like get to the part that I'm talking about where it's like that one.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the one.
A bop. And I remember that one and Gives You Hell.
I was gonna say this was a freaking bop. With a big smile on my face and nothing's out of place.
They were amazing. And the fact that they're just going around playing random shows for people.
But I feel like it was a pop-up. I don't feel like they were advertising it. I feel it was like it was like a pop. Yeah, they just showed up and were like, we're here.
I would love that so
We're
much.
here at this bowling alley. What was it, like Lake Bryant Bowl or something?
Something. Do you remember what your first, maybe not song that you bought for an iPod? Do you remember what your first iPod was? I feel like I'm about to lose any Gen Z or listeners.
Like an iPod Nano type thing?
Like do you remember?
But I had the fat one, like first. I had like the first
classic.
generation.
Okay, so you rich.
Well, my mom decided to marry embezzling
Yeah.
Ponzi scheme artist, racketeering.
I will tell you, I actually
criminal.
have looked on eBay for those classic ones. I was like, I kind of just want one. They hold like 5 gigabytes worth of shit. You can't put anything on there.
Yeah.
So I decided not to do that. But mine, do you remember? It was an iPod Shuffle. The first generation, it looked like a cigarette. And the top popped off, and that was the USB.
I don't remember that.
It was the very first iPod Shuffle. And I feel ancient. They don't even sell iPods anymore.
I know. I thought you were going to ask like CD. And I remember my first CD. It was 50 Cent in the Club.
Really?
Yeah, I was in 5th grade.
Mine was Genie in a Bottle by Christina Aguilera.
That's the first one I can remember. Like,
that's fair.
Distinctly remember memorizing every song about him fucking girls in the club. And I'm in 5th grade in the backseat like, yeah, exactly. Like, just chilling.
Well, I can say I think all the time about like kids nowadays. I'm like, God, they have like very inappropriate things.
Understand.
Well, no, like really inappropriate things, and these girls with like their boobies out, whatever. And I do then think back to Colt 45 and Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like we were listening
to the window.
Yeah, right?
To the wall.
To the wall.
I
I can't believe we listened to some of the things that we did when we grew up.
Yeah, but then like look at us now. Look at how that just didn't even phase or impact us and how we've grown up to be wholesome Christian women. Anyway,
I'm
moving.
No, I'm Christian, but I'm not wholesome.
You're neither.
I'm neither. Okay. What is next? Oh, A Clockwork Orange. Have you ever read this book?
No.
Okay. So I would like any listener who hasn't read it, who would like to cry to an extent to read it, not because of the story. There are made up words throughout the book that you have to figure out as you read further down the book. So you could read in the first chapter.
I didn't even know it was a book. I just knew it was a film.
Have you seen the film?
No.
It's crazy. The book's crazy too, but they use made up words. So let's say you're reading a chapter 1, and you're like, I don't know what 50% of these words are. You then have to keep reading the book and use deductive reasoning on certain words and then plug them back.
That sounds like a lot of work.
Now, the intrusive thought I had yesterday while I was drinking some THC was, what if that's not actually how the book is? And
you made that up?
Just an idiot? Or I made it up for attention when I was a teen, and now I've just convinced myself.
Which I wouldn't be surprised.
So it's been on my list. I literally put it on my reminders list. Like
read this again.
Go get
read this
a
again.
copy of The Clockwork Orange or A Clockwork Orange. And
you have a Kindle?
True. So anyways, I was
That's
having
so funny.
I was having some literal insane thoughts last night.
I'm excited for this next one.
Okay. I don't. So whatever your answer is to this next question,
Raccoons looking okay is also a crazy thing to just type out. But like, let's go on toilet paper on toilet.
Okay. When you go to the bathroom, like at a gas station, if they don't have the seat covers?
I'm raw dogging it.
Thank you. Even if you had seat covers, I'm raw dogging it.
If there's a seat cover and the bathroom's questionable, I might use
questionable,
it.
But I just mean in
or like
general.
at the airport, if there's a seat cover, I'm like, okay, it's the airport. Like,
yeah,
Minneapolis airport is the nicest airport literally in the nation. But if you're providing me with a seat cover, like, yeah, I'm gonna use it. 2 of my best friends ever, if we ever go out and we use the bathroom together, I always go first because they are toilet paper on the seat girly, and they know that I'm a raw dogger, and they will look at me and be like, go ahead.
Let me just sit down.
I'm like, I have to probably pee the most out of all of you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Also, here's the thing. I don't have time. I don't know if we've told this story on the podcast yet, but I fully peed my pants at a wedding that we did in Texas a year ago, fully in the bathroom, peed through my pants everywhere. Luckily, sorry to Megan and Jared. Like, sorry, but I peed in the Airbnb that you guys are staying at by accident. Obviously not on purpose. I go in there and marking my territory. But yeah, I have bladder problems. So if you think that I have the ability to fully go into a bathroom and have the time to put toilet paper down on the toilet seat, you're fucking nuts. If it's really gross, I will hover or I will put the paper down. But I'm also risking fully pissing my pants.
Well, 2 things, because I believe Meg definitely listens to this podcast. We love you, but you cleaned it up. Yeah,
I cleaned
so
everything
it
up.
Matter.
I did use the Airbnb's hairdryer that was provided there to dry off my pee pants after I cleaned them.
Well, now I think they didn't get ready at an Airbnb.
Yeah, their whole venue was an Airbnb. It was an estate.
Yeah. I thought you were talking about offsite, and I was like,
no.
We are thinking about a different wedding.
They all were staying there.
Yes. Okay. So, Raccoons looking okay. Oh, wait, back to the toilet paper thing really quick. The reason I was asking is because I went to a random bathroom at a random gas station, and it was terrifying. And I was putting down toilet paper.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, oh my God, there are people that do this every time. This is annoying. And then I thought I would ask you if you're also, I'm raw dogging it. I'm really working on my immune system.
Well, clearly you're not.
Well, I'm not raw dogging. If it's crazy bathroom, I will put it down. But I'm just saying, like, when I go into a Starbucks.
No, I'm saying because you're sick.
I know that. When I go to Starbucks.
Oh, yeah.
I'll just sit my ass down.
Here's the thing. I went to Caribou yesterday. There's 2 bathrooms. One, they're both, all sex bathrooms, whatever.
You and I
sex bathrooms. So I go into the one, I open the door. I look in there and I look in the toilet. I'm not doing that. It was not the spot for me. There was poo-poo splatter. There was
Caribou.
So then I was like, you know what? Let me just try the other bathroom. Go into the other bathroom. Spotless. Perfect. Sparkling.
Yeah.
Put cheeks to the seat immediately. But if that one was occupied, I had to use the other one, I would have been hovering or putting paper down. Like, I'm not. No.
That's why I bring my squatty potty everywhere with me.
Yeah. You have a handheld, a pocket potty.
I really love my
pocket potty. We're patenting that. Trademarking that right now.
What would that product look like to you?
Well, it'd be like a fold-out squatty potty that fits in your purse for the hot girls who have stomach problems.
I love my squatty potty.
I'm obsessed with mine.
The only thing I haven't tried to do that I have wanted is a bidet, but the idea of just being blasted in the asshole.
I'm good on that.
I'm like...
Honestly, people swear by it, though.
Exactly. That's my thing is I was like, if I got shit on my hands, I wouldn't just take toilet paper and brush it off and throw it in the garbage. Like, I would wash my hands. So I'm like, why am I not washing my asshole?
Every time.
Okay. I don't know. Okay, so this one, I'm going to try not to have a little bit of an attack in my laughter. But raccoons looking okay. Raccoons looking okay. So here's what I don't like. I had a long drive on Saturday.
I love raccoons.
Shot a beautiful graduation party. Go check out my Instagram to see the photos. But I'm on this really, really long drive in northern Minnesota, so you're bound to see roadkill and all that good stuff, right? You see a deer, smash to smithereens. I'm like, great. I know you went quick. I know you're not alive. Otherwise, we'd have a problem. Rest in peace. These raccoons be looking fine, okay?
They look like they're sleeping. We've talked about this.
Have we?
Yes.
Okay, this was a thought I had very late in the night, but...
We have. I thought you were talking about, like, their physical appearance as they're just, like, chilling alive. Like, I thought you were questioning their beauty. I didn't know that you were questioning...
No, I was questioning, like... I don't know if they're just sleeping on the side of the road.
They're not.
I know, but...
The ones who might be sleeping on the side of the road are the possums because they actually fake dead. Like, they actually pass out, faint.
They get scared by a car and they
Yes. So, always check on your possums. Yeah. Carry gloves in your car for this specific reason. Maybe an extra empty box with some blankets in it. Or just call me.
Yeah. I will say, though, that I guess the reason it came to my mind is I was like, how? They are getting clipped by these cars and it's like they bounce off the car, they hit their head on the pavement and they die.
Yeah, because
there's no blood.
I've seen it. And this is what we talked about. You must have a bad memory because we talked about this. Because I remember sharing with you a story where I was driving to my little cult church one day, and on the main road, there were 3 raccoons crossing, and a big bitch-ass truck hit one of them, the very last one, and it full on just started, like, having a seizure on the road, and the other 2 Raccoons were looking at it, And I cried for probably 17 hours straight, like hyperventilating, convulsing, like your lip quivering, teenage, scary cry. So there was no blood, though. There was nothing. It just got hit. And I think because they're so solid, like they're big, fat animals, and they just kind of like
bounce off the fucking cars.
And cars usually like feel the impact, and then I don't think it's like a wheel hitting them either. Yeah. It's like the bumper.
That makes sense.
Oh my God, this got morbid.
This did.
Anyway,
I just, on the road trip, I was like, there are a lot of napping raccoons.
Anyway, the raccoons are not okay.
So, I can't type. Okay, that was last night.
Did you type that while you were high?
Yes. These next two. But I was typing, and I literally, Nikki, I couldn't I kept trying to hit period, and I kept hitting shift and then the button for period, and it wouldn't work. And the way that I had tears in my eyes, I felt like Stephen Hawking.
Funny.
I felt like I was completely like not able to do anything.
We're cutting that last clip.
And I just was like trying to type, and I couldn't. I was laughing so hard, but also crying last night.
What were you trying to type?
This? I was trying to edit this, and I kept hitting enter, and then it would give me another bullet point. So I'm like, okay, if I hit enter again, it should disappear. Nope, just another bullet point. So I go.
That is so funny.
I literally was like, I'm going to kill myself. Like, the most jovial suicide you ever did see in your life. That's crazy. So, Adam over-delivering. So, last night, again, I was just a little bit high. Adam comes in. He's like, do you want a sweet treat? I was like, yeah.
Why are Craig and Adam the same person? Craig looks at me and goes, do you want some ice cream? Oh. You want Dairy Queen?
Okay, well, I wish that man did Dairy Queen. We just have a pint of Haagen-Dazs in the freezer.
We DoorDash some DQ.
You DoorDash some Blizzard?
Yeah. Bitch, please. First of all, Little Miss spends $60 on a Benihana DoorDash delivery once or twice, maybe 4 times a week at the office.
Hold on. Number one, Nikki I struck a nerve. I didn't mean about the money. They're blizzards. They melt. Like, the point is to eat them right away, I feel like.
They come perfectly frozen. Have you never DoorDash ice cream?
No.
I've DoorDash Cold Stone Creamery.
Because I just figure by the time it gets to you, it's like half melted.
It comes fully prepared. And I still have half of one in my freezer right now waiting for me later.
Oh, sorry, my bronchitis is acting up. I do that same thing with my elbow, and people think I'm mentally
same. Craig literally like, what? No. And then when I do it in public, I do think sometimes, like, do people think I have Tourette's? Because that is a crazy thing to do. And if it doesn't pop the first time, you just keep doing it until it does.
No, I'm going to throw my arm out of its socket.
But we rode 7 miles down the river yesterday, so my elbows be a little shot. When I tell you there were families fully dying on this river, like people who have never paddled probably ever in their life, and I know their names. His name is Ernesto, and I only know this because the other people in his party that were paddling in other kayaks were screaming at him because his kayak with his wife kept going in a circle. They couldn't figure it out. And Craig and I are beached on this island. Mind you, we also have had a little THC at this point, and we're just like, I'm like, should I yell? Like, should I tell them what to do?
Yeah.
And then finally they got it. And I was like, do we clap? Like, do we cheer for them? But when I tell you, so they passed us while we're on this island.
Yeah.
Then we freaking get back in our boat and we're like, okay, let's go down. Let's finish the trek down. We pass them.
Yeah.
We fully pass them. We stop off at another island, go to the bathroom, keep going. We end our journey. We get to the end. When I tell you they get there and Ernesto is like a 70-year-old Latino man.
Okay.
Probably never paddled a day in his life. Dripping sweat.
Yeah.
Soaked through. Couldn't get out of the kayak.
Aww.
Looked like he was about to have cardiac arrest. And his wife is just laughing at him the whole time. It's like, he's dying. That was so hard. I can do that, by the way, because you should hear my grandpa. But I literally was like, do you guys want water? Are you guys okay? Would you like a water bottle? They were not okay.
Struggling.
And literally, I was like, if you go into cardiac arrest, I am a certified EMT and I'm going to be forced to help you.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But like, I don't want to do that right now.
Yeah,
I want to sit here with my dog
Yeah.
and I'm going to give you a water bottle. But yeah. So if you've never paddled down the St. Croix, it's really not that tough.
Yeah.
But I guess
gotta know at least
you've got to know what, you've got to know what you're getting into, and do know that it is 7 miles. It's not a little stretch. It tells you when you book online, it can take you average 2.5 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
To like that's a lot of paddling.
That's a lot of energy.
Physical exertion.
Yes.
Anyway, Adam with the ice cream.
That's why I will sit my butt in a tube and float down a river. But I have to be honest, as I've gotten older, I've become a complete bitch baby in many aspects of life. You're not likely to get me on a roller coaster anymore. My back.
Absolutely not.
The idea of decapitation.
There's not a chance.
Yeah. That scary movies, and we'll talk more about that, but I can't watch scary movies anymore.
I do love scary movies.
And it's just like things like that you couldn't find me doing anymore.
No, I'm not doing it. I don't like a roller coaster.
And anyway. No, it's fair. But why did I bring that up? What were we just talking about before I went into that?
Paddling down the river.
Paddling. It's just not something you could get me, I think, to do.
It's a lot.
And also in a river.
It's a lot.
I don't even tube in a river anymore just because, like, rivers freak me out.
Yeah. Honestly, we saw fish jumping, and I was like, if this boat tips over, I'm freaking out.
I am freaking.
And it's a canoe. It's a wobbly canoe, and luckily my dog lays down the whole time. Yeah. Craig was like, listen, if Baxter gets up, we've got full cooler. Mm-hmm. We've got a fully packed bag. I did put our speaker in a Ziploc baggie, so that was safe. But I'm like, if this dog stands up, or even if he barks or farts, like, we're done.
Yeah.
We're done. So luckily, I got the best fucking deal with this dog. He is just... Did you
listen to that podcast?
Yes. I actually listened to it on the way here.
Oh, that's cute. Wait, the whole thing?
No.
Oh, okay.
Just that part.
I just...
And that was not cute. It was so sad.
Well, I just thought it was so... My soulmate Baxter. I was
when he said that.
That's all I cared about. I was like, oh.
Well, you have Patreon. So the number that you send it at shows up different for me because you don't have ads. So for me, it started at the whole story.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
That, I will say, is one of the best investments. If you really love a podcast, like you listen to it every single day, and if they have an option to have a no ad and you get early releases.
Doing this as if we have ads right now. I'm like, guys, subscribe to our Patreon. If you really love us and you want an ad-free episode, every episode is ad-free, guys.
Yeah.
For now.
You're welcome.
For now.
Until they
just
call
wait till
us
we
with
blow
that
up.
shmoney. With that shmoney. The whole episode's ads. It's not a single thing. We're like, welcome to Cocktail Hour. It is brought to you by...
Thanks for listening to Cocktail Hour. Let's talk about our favorite shapewear today.
I'm wearing it currently. Okay, last two things. Adam over delivering. So, he comes in, he asks, do you want a sweet treat? And I was like, yeah. I said, I either want some ice cream. We have like this dulce de leche Haagen-Dazs. So I either want that or I want some Hershey Kisses. And I said, if you choose the Hershey Kisses route, please unwrap them from their individual packaging.
That's insane.
And have them in a little ramekin for me.
That's wild.
Now, mind you, I was pretty stoned. So...
You would ask that unstoned.
Exactly. I wanted to bring up both of those points. I was stoned, but I do think I would have made that request.
Yes.
Regardless.
100%.
So he brings a bowl to me, and it is some ice cream with some Hershey Kisses in it.
Very nice.
See, I disagree.
Why?
I asked for either ice cream.
Oh, see, you're evil.
Or... the Hershey Kisses.
Oh, see, you're evil.
Now, mind you, I did not tell him this, and we did not have a fight. I was like, blah, blah, blah. But in my heart of hearts, I went, this is not what I asked for.
Here's my question. Did you gobble it up anyway and go, nom, 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 nom?
Yes and no.
You separated them?
I separated them. But even then, here's the problem. They're different levels of sweetness. If you eat the ice cream first, which I did to get it out of the bowl because I don't like a cold Hershey Kiss.
I don't either.
So I ate the ice cream first, and then I went to eat a Hershey Kiss, and it tasted just like wax because the ice cream's so sweet that the Hershey Kiss did not taste sweet. And this, folks, is the dilemma of you're over-delivering.
Of mental illness.
Speaking of, no, I asked for one of two things and he over-delivered. And sometimes over-delivering is more annoying than anything. I understand what I'm saying, but it is how I felt in the moment.
I will say, on some levels, I can appreciate this. Like when we were getting ready for the canoe ride yesterday, Craig's job was to go to the gas station and get ice. I asked for Doritos. He said, what kind? I said, the regular kind.
Yeah.
Now, when I say the regular kind, what do you think of?
The red bag.
Yeah, thank you.
Nacho cheese.
He comes out and I go, what's that? What are you holding? And it's the purple kind, which is the sweet and spicy ones. And I go, that's not what I asked for.
No. It's not
and
what
he
you
was like,
asked for.
well, when we were on the phone the other day, we were on FaceTime. I was eating these and you said you love these kind. So I got these kind. I thought that's what you meant. And I said, and then I proceed to open the bag and eat 90% of it in one sitting because they are fire. But I was like, that's not what I asked for.
And you would be right.
But I ate all of it. Like, I ate the whole bag of Doritos. And I was like, you're so right. These are so good. And he was like, yeah, I know.
Here's my thing. You're both in the right and you're both in the wrong.
Right.
And
same here.
Exactly. I think it is so important to know that preferences are there for a reason.
Yeah.
But also, like, I'm not going to kill myself because I didn't get, the thing I wanted. I will want to kill myself, but I don't have the balls to do so.
We would netter, you guys, just so you know.
No.
Also, we're not meaning to sound insensitive about KMS.
I am.
We like we've said in our previous episode, we actually do suffer from severe mental illness.
And when we say severe, we mean like this has been diagnosed by psychiatrists.
Oh, yeah.
I
haven't seen a therapist since I was 5.
Yeah, we're not self-diagnosing.
No, we're not kidding. Like we
should be more
problems.
medicated, I feel like.
Are you taking meds?
No.
Okay.
I was afraid that it would take away my zhuzh
my
for the
spark.
podcast. Yeah.
My little spark.
Also, my spark right now is fucking bronchitis.
Coughing every 5 seconds.
Know. I'm so sorry, you guys. That's why also we're doing audio only because, we didn't even explain, I don't think. We're doing audio only because Nick Nack's leaving for Italy for like 18 years.
So if you're a regular listener, if you've listened throughout Meg when she went on her road trip with Adam, that's kind of the same deal that we're doing. I will be gone for 3 weeks of episodes at least. So we are going to just be batch recording and getting some stuff done here. Audio only because that's just where we're at. So Anyway,
okay, last thing, watching scary movies alone.
Well, that's just weird.
Thank you. I saw a video on Instagram that said something like, POV, you're watching a scary movie alone. And I was like,
that's weird.
That's
Who
evil
does that?
People shit. I don't believe that there are many Satanists, but if you're watching scary movies alone,
who's doing that?
What is the point of that? I don't understand. Watching scary movies with a group of people I already don't like.
I do like that. I do like a scary movie. I'm not going to lie.
Have you seen any good ones recently?
No.
That's fair. It's not like a monthly thing, but you will watch a scary movie.
I will watch a scary movie, especially if it looks really good. And I'm not talking like, what's the ones that is in theater right now? The like last installation of the one where you're afraid that you're gonna die, basically.
Oh, Final Destination.
Final Destination. Thank you. I'm not talking like that. Like that to me isn't a scary movie necessarily. That's more like
a gory.
That's like gore or like suspense and like blah, like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking scary. Like I like supernatural scary. I like all sorts of scary. Like Z and I watched, what's the one with Nicolas Cage, Long Legs or whatever? Did you watch it?
I watched the trailer and I would not watch that movie.
So it was fine. And then the ending, I was like, why the fuck did you guys have to make that the ending? Like it was just super disappointing. So there are scary movies that I do like to watch. I'm like, okay, I want to be genuinely scared.
Yeah.
I want to think about this when I'm going to bed at night and feel like something is watching me, which is also insane.
But I wish I was on video so you could see my fucking face.
Believe I am somebody who believes in spirits. I believe in the supernatural. I believe in the afterlife. I believe in all of that. And I have had a lot of encounters, supernatural encounters and experiences. And so sometimes I'm like, somebody visit me, but only if you're nice.
Yeah, we don't want
if you're
like
nice.
the scorned
Nope.
women, the mentally ill men.
No. I have Heather. She's a 40-ish-year-old probably living in my basement. Spirit.
I can't wait to meet her one day.
She hasn't been around in a little while.
Maybe
I miss
she
her.
found herself a man.
I hope so. I hope she's happy.
The ether.
Anyway.
Have you seen, not Midsummer, Hereditary? Have we talked about that?
I have seen Hereditary. The first time I ever watched it, that's where the girl gets decapitated, right? So the first time I ever watched it, I was heavy in my church cult.
Also, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen the movie.
Well, yeah, she gets decapitated.
It was a long time ago. You should have seen it.
Yeah, that's on you. And I will say I watched it with a former friend of mine. Hate her now. Just kidding. Hate is a strong word, but we're just no longer friends. She is in the cult. She's the one who beat my ass. She beat me up. And she and I were very good friends, though, and we're very Christian girlies watching this. Like, oh my gosh, let's watch a scary movie. My ex-husband was there. When we finished that movie, the first time I watched it, and I think because I was in this church cult bubble, I was so terrified because the movie in and of itself is very culty, but like kind of demonic culty. And then I watched it again. This is years later. This is like a year ago or two that I watched it again. Out of the cult, I'm still spiritual, religious, if you may. And I'm like telling my two friends who have never really been religious or spiritual, like, this is the scariest movie I've ever seen. We have to watch it. We were laughing. We were fully like,
wasn't funny the second time.
It wasn't scary
the second time.
I was like, I don't know why I thought this was way scarier, but it's because I was living in a bubble where I was told that everything is scary, basically.
Fair.
To the point where after the first time we watched it, we turned all the lights on in the house, started praying in the home. I was like, where's my holy water? I'm blessing the home right now, and we're getting the spirits out because that shit was dark. And then I watched it the second time, and I was like, why are there naked old people everywhere?
Maybe I'd feel the same way if I watched it again. I've just committed to
I think watch it again, and you'll be like, okay.
Yeah, because the first time I watched it, literally that scene where Toni Collette is like up in the corner like a spider.
Yeah.
I was trying to fall asleep in my bed that night, and it kept like flashing in my head, and I was like, I cannot do this. And I think that was the last series. Adam and I tried to watch The Conjuring early into our relationship on Halloween. Once we were like, let's be fun.
Yeah.
Let's watch a scary movie. Minutes. And I was
really?
like, turn it
Can
off.
I ask a question?
Yeah.
As a non-religious person, like, why does that stuff scare you?
Great question. Because although I'm non-religious, I absolutely think there's some weird ass shit in the world. And so whether it be a more realistic, like, I don't know, kidnap, rape situation,
right,
like a scary movie like that, I'm like, yeah, that could really happen. And then a scary movie like Paranormal Activity, the way that like the spirit
that
shit
could really happen too,
freaks me out.
That
and
scares me more.
It makes me want to read the Bible a little bit, where I go,
I was gonna ask
this
that
on me.
When you see like Toni Collette in the corner of your bedroom on the ceiling,
Yeah.
Do you ever think like, oh my gosh,
like, dear God, please
literally
save me? That's a good question. I think that
because I do.
If you're religious, if you're Christian, all that good stuff, I love that for you. But
mind you, I am. So like this
Nikki
is yeah. This is
I like grew up in a Lutheran church, all this stuff. I love those people, but I do pray. But probably at the most inappropriate times. I'll be like trying to shit and I can't shit. And I'll be praying to God.
Okay,
literally out loud. I'll be like, please get me through this. I will go to church. I will do whatever you need me to do.
Funny.
But and then in those same moments I'm saying a little prayer.
Yeah. If I'm having like bad, vivid dreams or like feeling really weird spirits around me, I will fall asleep to praise and worship music under my pillow.
Yeah.
Because Craig can't hear it.
That's fair. Isn't that funny that it just puts you, it does nothing scientifically. Well, no. I shouldn't say scientifically, but like it wouldn't change anything if someone came and stabbed you or what. Like,
I'm not talking
but it's
coming and
mental,
stabbing you. I'm talking more of the paranormal side of things.
Fair. But I don't think it's insane for me right now to say like, yeah, I believe in spirits, but I don't believe that music could ward them off because if spirits are around, you never know what can happen. But I'm just saying it is funny how much that more just eases your inner self. And I love that.
But that's your belief. And my belief is
that it
actually helps.
Yeah.
In general. Because I'm summoning the Lord. Well, that sounds weird. I'm not summoning the Lord. The Lord's always 10
years from now, I'm on a documentary where you go, you know, I could have seen some signs that she was going to make her own cult. She talked about summoning the Lord.
But, you know, the Jesus freaks know what I mean.
Just old movies, summoning the Lord. Have you ever seen the movie There Will Be Blood with Daniel Day-Lewis?
No.
There is a scene in which, you know, he is being, I don't know if he's being baptized or what, but it is the most powerful scene. I remember watching it when I was like 15 years old, and I watched it over and over and over again.
You wanted to dedicate your life to Christ after that?
No, it made me definitely less
Really?
Christ-like.
Okay, so is it the opposite?
The pastor in the movie is a false prophet. Like he acts like Jesus is talking to him. It's whatever. But it's
my
great
old stepdad. Yeah. That's who's
and
the
it's played by Paul Dano, who I love as well.
What's the movie called?
There Will Be Blood.
Sounds actually really dark.
No, it's about like an oil baron and his life, and it is one of my favorite all-time movies. And even better than the movie is the score. It is phenomenal. I even, after I watched it for the first time myself, I sat my dad down to watch it with him, and he was like, why? This is a very serious movie, Meg. He's like, why do you like this?
Watch this with Craig.
It's phenomenal. But the point that I was trying to say is when I see big acts from religious people, I think that's highly entertaining. And if it makes people feel better.
You should go to a Sunday service at SVCC. And I would just love to see your take on my old
if they're like speaking in tongues and stuff, I'm pretty freaked out by that. But anything else, I've been to Catholic church, I've been to Lutheran.
Oh, they're speaking in tongues. They're laying people out on the ground.
Do they have an electric guitar? Are there a whole setup?
Oh God, fog machines, light shows.
So here's my thing. My Lutheran church that I went to growing up until I was probably like 12 or 13, very small church.
Yep.
Should have probably had some repairs. We were probably all in danger.
Yeah.
One guy with a wooden guitar up on the front. Loved that. Everyone was so nice. The worst people there were my parents, okay? Everybody else was fucking great. I loved them all so much.
Oh, I love that.
I hope they're doing well. But yeah, the mega churches, it's not a vibe.
Anyway, let's hop into some stories, folks.
Let's do it. Okay, I'll kick us off. Okay. So this one is titled, Just Went to a Wedding and Did Not Have Fun, and I'm no longer excited for my own now.
Oh. Okay.
So, I just went to a wedding and I felt so anxious and awkward the entire time. It was my friend's wedding too. Like, I know the couple, but something was just off. The lighting never really dimmed, so dancing felt awkward, and I didn't drink that much. The bar situation wasn't great, so I'm assuming no open bar or cash bar of some sort. The dancing made me feel like I was back in high school or even middle school. My feet hurt. I don't know why that matters.
This literally just sounds like an ornery.
Seriously.
Like, again.
My feet hurt at this wedding. I am no longer excited for my own wedding.
had the worst time.
Okay, my feet hurt and I kind of just wanted to sit but felt awkward, and once I started feeling awkward, there's no snapping out of it because
this is a personal problem.
Also, I don't know why I'm thinking this is a guy. This might be...
This very much sounds like a woman.
Yeah, I suppose. I'm 28 and it seems like these weddings are happening like all the time and they just are getting super generic and run of the mill. I'm so sorry. But to just be like, God, it feels like these weddings are happening all the time. Your friends are getting married.
And so are you.
Yeah. Just, anyways. And it's not like a wedding can even be as fun as just going out with your friends since your parents and grandparents and everyone are there. Gah! I don't know. That's really typed out. Do people really enjoy to go to weddings after the 5th, 6th, or 7th one in the last couple of years? How do you shake things up even just a little so it's not so generic and repetitive?
What?
Maybe the music just wasn't really good. Maybe it was a lack of drinking or the lights. I don't know. Maybe it's because it was a Sunday wedding, so no one was really drinking or wanting to stay up super late. But I really just didn't have a good time, even though I can't point out to any one thing that was truly off.
Maybe it's because you suffer from depression.
Why am I going to spend so much money on a wedding just to feel like this again at the end of it all?
What? No,
Dot.
literally. Maybe it's because you haven't been to therapy in 28 years.
Also, there are some weddings that just are not as poppin' as the next one.
And that's okay.
But the point was that your friend that you went to go see got married, that they got married, that no one was left at the altar. No one Julia Roberts that shit. That was the point of it.
They said I do. They kissed and now they're happily married.
Yeah, celebrate them.
Sorry, the music wasn't everything you wanted it to be. And to compare it to like an 8th grade dance is actually fucking diabolical.
Well, 2 things on that. Number 1, shut the fucking lights off for the dance.
That I agree with.
Vendors, venues, anybody listening, please drop those lights because no one wants to dance if you can see them dance. Second, I did, and I even sent it to the Cocktail Hour podcast account, just saw a video that said, can we please talk about dances when we were in middle school? Grinding up on each other.
Full on grinding. Boys sweating all up on my back.
And just feeling like this is
powerful
life.
Women.
Yeah.
Feeling powerful.
And I could not be more thankful that we did not have things like iPhones.
I would die.
If there were videos of us doing that. But then someone commented and said, but can we also talk about the adults that were just watching this?
Yeah, what were they doing? You know what? They were probably taking shots in the bathroom.
Probably. Because you know why?
Adults, that's what we would do.
They were 22.
Yeah.
Those were the teachers who had to chaperone the dance. And they were probably hitting lines in the bathroom.
Exactly. But to the point of this wedding thing, I will say, like, shut up. I don't know. It just sounds like somebody just wants to complain about something. Like, I don't know. Maybe your friend is boring. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't want to spend money on like a big DJ or production, but they really still wanted to get married and have all their friends and family there. God forbid you show up and support them and you just have a miserable time because your feet hurt.
Yeah.
Get over it. Like, it's not about you. I do understand that a lot of times when people are planning weddings, people say like, well, you know, you're really entertaining others and blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Hard disagree. Like, entertain yourselves. I don't have fucking time for it. Yeah, I'm giving you food. I'm putting on music. Maybe it's the music the bride likes and you don't like it. Get over it. I don't know. I think it's kind of rude to make a whole Reddit thread post about how you feel like...
To the point that you're not excited for your own. That's what keeps getting me.
And that's weird. Then maybe you shouldn't be getting married, baby, because that's not what it's about.
But also, she even listed things like, oh, the lights weren't off. And just, you know what you do? You don't judge that person. You go, great. Here's some things now that I know.
Exactly.
So if I have such a problem with it, let me fix it for my day. People be crazy.
Anyway, this story is titled... Client asking for all unselected wedding photos. How would you handle this? Looking for some advice on handling a client request that's pushing into uncomfortable territory. I recently delivered a full wedding gallery and the client came back with a list of very specific requests for additional variations, which I'm totally fine with and already working on. These include things like wide-angle ceremony shots with the groom and parents, color versions of certain black and white photos like vows under the gazebo, specific table shots with flowers, more bubble shots. Totally reasonable stuff, and I'm happy to provide more options for these moments. First of all, I want to pause and say, if that's stuff that they wanted, this should have been discussed ahead of time.
Yeah.
Having all like a shot list like this should have been discussed ahead of time, and expecting your photographer post-wedding day to have additional photos that it sounds like she already provided in the gallery.
You just want a different version of it.
It's sounding like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't love that.
However, at the end of the message, the client asked if I could just send all of the unselected photos, quote unquote, from the day. That's where I'm drawing a firm line. I've never had a client ask for every unchosen image before, and I'm really hesitant to release unedited, unculled work. To me, that's like handing over unfinished drafts that don't represent the quality of my work or the experience I want to deliver. I would love to hear how others have handled similar situations. Do you ever provide unselected images? How do you set boundaries without making the client feel dismissed? There's also a response that she ended up sending, but before we go over the response, let's go over how we would handle this.
Absolutely. I don't know if we differ on this, but you can absolutely have all of the raw photographs, but it will come with a copyright release where I'm releasing Louis Photography from the like copyright. Like you are buying the copyright
for
of all of these photos.
$10,000.
I think I have mine set at $5,000, and I've sold a single photo for $5,000 to someone. So I should probably charge 10 to 20 for all of these raw photos.
Yeah, for the whole gallery.
It would be a price that no one would take me up on.
Exactly.
That's all I can say, is I know that they'll ask it, and that's completely within their right to ask the question, but I'm going to give you my answer.
And it's within your right to say, sure, and here's the price for that.
Yeah.
And I agree on that. I'm not doing that.
Absolutely not.
No.
You can buy the copyright. Otherwise, they're going to hang here. Otherwise, I don't know what you're going to edit, what you're going to post.
And what you're even looking for is my thing. It's like, what are you even looking for here and why?
Yeah. And I also think as photographers, we know that there are some shit images in the raws, whether they were intentionally shitty because you go, oh, I can lighten this subject up and like let me play with the shadows. But someone might look at the raw photo and be like, what the helly? Like, what is this? And then there are just some unintentionally shit photos. So to give someone all the raws, I almost feel like you're giving them ammo to say some shit.
Oh,
to
100%.
either be like, why are some...
And to come back to you later and say, well, this isn't what we paid. Like, this is not the gallery that we were expecting, blah, 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 blah. Well, no shit.
Yeah.
Because you're getting these images, you freaks.
Yeah. Like... Why anyone would want all of the images, I do not know. But, you know.
Here's the response that they ended up sending. Okay, so this is the edit to add with the response. Here it is. I'll take care of the specific requests you mentioned this week. I want to reassure you that I never hold back on good photos. The gallery you received includes every strong, meaningful image from your day. I realize I didn't initially upload a few of the photos you mentioned. I apologize for that. They're completely understandable requests, and I'll make sure to add them into the gallery. However, as a general policy, I don't release all raw or unselected images, whether they are edited or unedited. They don't reflect my finished work, and I've heard cautionary stories from other photographers where unedited images were shared out of context and caused harm to their reputation, which is like what we just said.
Yeah.
That said, I'd love to better understand what you're hoping to see. Are you feeling like something is missing from the gallery? Was there a specific moment you feel wasn't covered? Or is this just more out of curiosity that you'd like to see everything? Thanks in advance. I do appreciate her asking, like, hey, just curious, like, what are you hoping to see out of this?
Yeah.
I don't think she needed to provide a whole explanation, like laying it out there. I think sometimes as small business owners, we get really lost in the like people pleasing of things because A, that is how we make sales and that is how we connect with people. B, that's how we hold our clientele and get wonderful referrals. However, in a situation like this, like I think it can be very black and white, very cut and dry, and saying like we said, here's the cost for the entire copyright of the gallery. It's $10,000. Either you want it or you don't.
Yeah. Or I'm happy to upload them all, have a big ass watermark on the photos, and you can select which ones you want me to edit. They will each be $50
X amount of dollars,
or whatever. You know what I mean? Just for that extra work. But it is hard because I may take 5,000 photos, but I really am picking, kind of like she had said, the strongest,
the best images
and putting them in the gallery. So and if I didn't include something, it's probably because it's shit. I've had people be like, oh, they'll email me after they get their gallery and Can you give us, we don't see a photo of the dip at the end of the dance. Well, you're right. You don't, because you dipped away from me.
Yeah.
So all I'm getting is your foot.
kneecaps.
Yeah, your kneecaps or your foot kicked up, but your head is back in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
You're dipped backwards. Like, you don't want that photo. And you kind of have to trust that your photographer has a rhyme or reason for certain things.
That's the thing, is that trust can become a big issue with client photographer. We've run into it. We've seen it.
Yeah.
It can become a really big issue where the client starts to question a lot of things, and you begin to get the impression like, oh, you don't trust me.
Yeah.
And when you run into that, that's a big problem.
Big problem. And those are the situations where I don't feel like it's necessarily, when I say worth the money, that may sound crass, but I just mean it's not worth that booking, that money, because I care more about the relationship with the client than the money.
Right.
But them giving me money is not necessarily worth being worried every day working with them, feeling like we're not on the same page. They do not trust me. And that after wedding day, they're not going to be happy. I'd rather you not be happy before wedding day and we figure it out or we make decisions versus you working with me and then being like, well, this isn't at all what I wanted.
Yep,
Yes, it matches everything else you've done or like the aesthetic, but it's not what I wanted. I'd be like, what? How have I found myself in this situation?
Yeah.
So
Anyway.
Anyhoozle. Okay. Next one. This one's a little bit long. Our American videographer flew to our Italy wedding with no permit, and her husband broke an antique display. Our Tuscan villa wedding was supposed to be perfect. We hired a videographer from California whose work looked amazing online. She gave us a great deal, and we thought we were being smart. I just want to pause right there because we've talked about that. We thought we were getting a good deal. Well, technically, it sounds like you did. Technically, you went with the cheaper option, and that's the deal that you got.
Yeah, what?
Especially to like your Italy. I don't understand risking an international elopement, micro wedding, whatever, on a photographer who's cutting you a deal.
Yeah.
That just sounds incredibly scary to me. But anyways, I swear I won't die. I swear. So she brought her husband along as her assistant. This makes me nervous, but just given the fact that I'm bringing Adam with me to stuff. But don't bring us to any, I don't know, museums, apparently. He spent half the time scrolling on his phone. Clearly, he was just there for a free vacation. I would have slapped the fucking phone out of Adam's hand.
You're not having a phone anymore.
If you were working on a wedding with me or even an engagement session and you pulled out your phone to scroll, the only time you can pull out the phone is because I've asked what time is it?
Yeah.
Or if, I don't know, you have to call 911.
Yeah.
Other than that, you don't need to have it. But whatever. As long as the video got done, we didn't care. Right before dinner, she and her husband were setting up some light stands. The dinner had been moved inside the villa because it was cold and raining that afternoon. At some point, one of the stands fell and it crashed right into a glass display case. The glass this would just suck. The glass shattered. Inside was a small porcelain statue, and the hand and head broke off completely. The manager said the display was original to the villa, the statue was priceless, and he said he needed to consult the villa's owners. I don't even know how the thing fell. There was no wind or anything since it was inside, and shouldn't the light stands be held down with some sort of weight? I have no idea. All I know is that I was upset and forced myself to go on with the night, and my husband kept telling me not to worry because we have wedding insurance. Pause for wedding insurance. Can you Google? I'm just interested. Like, is that if your wedding gets canceled? If something happens, is it needed for international? Or is it even a thing?
Wedding insurance can protect your investment and provide peace of mind by covering various unexpected scenarios, according to theknot.com and other sources. It typically covers liabilities, cancellations, postponements, and other financial losses associated with your wedding day. There are different types of wedding insurance. There's liability insurance, cancellation and postponement insurance, special event liability insurance. Interesting.
Wow.
Didn't know that.
Did not know that. Okay. Well, let's get hooked up with one of those companies that offer that.
You can purchase it at many insurance agencies such as Progressive, Travelers, and Geico. Those are your ads for the day, folks.
Those companies, those large corporations, if you could please
If you're
cut
listening.
us a check. So, but it gets worse. Our insurance refused to cover because the videographer didn't have a legal permit to work in Italy. We had assumed she was allowed to work there since her Instagram was full of Italian content. Our insurer cited unauthorized foreign vendor as the result. We asked the videographer if her own liability insurance would cover it. She said that she would look into it and then stopped responding to our emails.
No.
We've tried calling, emailing, nothing. She has ghosted us.
To me, that's the worst part of it all, is the fact that your vendor just pieced the fuck out. On one hand, no, there's no other hand. The only hand that there is that that's a diabolical move.
I was going to say
and I would fully blast the fuck out of whoever that is and say, I'm going to publicly humiliate you now.
Yeah.
If the videographer had gone through all of the protocols and been like, let me try to help you figure this out, I would feel horrible. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if this was me. There's not a chance that I could go one full day without responding to this person and saying, I'm so sorry. Let's figure this out together. That screams shitty human.
And I feel like they clearly don't have business insurance.
Obvious,
and they have
clearly.
run. But in the same vein, the videographer, from a money perspective, I wonder if she's running because she's like, I'm going to get stuck paying for this. Legally, you're not, though, because the couple's the one who booked the property, all this stuff. So no matter what, the couple's getting dirty dogged unless you give them 6,200 euro, which I doubt.
Is that how much it said it was?
Oh, yeah. So we've since paid 6,200 euros out of pocket, and now I'm terrified we never will see our wedding video because she's ghosting us. Now, I don't know if the 6,200 is the money they've paid for the video,
right? Which equates to about $7,000 for anyone listening.
Yeah, or if that's how much the porcelain, if they're getting
there's no way they
for
said
that.
It was priceless. There's no way something priceless is $7,000.
So sharing this nightmare because I hope someone can avoid making the same mistakes in the future. Honestly, I wish the venue had provided us some sort of information before we hired vendors, like who is and who is not allowed to work in Italy legally. Here's my thing. You're getting married in another country. That's on you to do the research. Right. That is not on the venue to be like, now, the venue, I think it would behoove them to require insurance policies from vendors that come in because
100%.
Yeah, you probably would have caught the whole permit thing as you're going through this paperwork. But, but that's also with the venue. That's on them. That's on the client. Like, the photographer's not technically liable, videographer, but I would still feel horrible. I'd probably try to pay for half of it.
Me too.
So they cannot expect us to know all these things. We are bringing our money into their country. At least they can provide better information. This sounds insanely entitled. Sorry, but that last, I'm bringing my money into your country. You could at least inform me of these things.
Oh, it's giving.
Okay.
It's giving.
That's a white right there.
Yeah, that's giving something
That is
crazy.
So fucking rude. Anyways. Frankly, I don't think our wedding planner even had a clue, and this whole mess seemed to surprise her as well.
All right, she's starting to piss me off now. At this point, bitch, I can't.
We hired her to help us, and she should be better informed and pass this information on to us. We were paying her, !
Baby girl.
We are exploring legal options, but it's a complicated mess across the border. Honestly, I'm so upset at this point. Probably the best outcome might be to leave the whole thing behind and get our video. So,
okay.
Here's one thing. I do agree with her that if she had a wedding planner, this should have come up. You would think, hey, who's your wedding vendor? Oh, great. They're, located in the U.S. and you're flying them to Italy. I do think, but again, that depends on, did you hire Nana from down the street who's, who put on Nona, whatever, who put on a brunch and now she's a wedding planner? Or Nana. I was like, that doesn't sound right. But I'm just like, how? I don't know who you paid to do this.
Exactly. And that's my whole thing too, is like, did you, I don't know. How did you go about this? How did this go about?
Yeah, I just
What
feel
were
like,
the protocols taken? Clearly none. There weren't any. And truthfully, she said it herself. She was looking for a fucking deal.
Yeah.
Okay?
So I'm curious on the quote unquote villa. Anything can be called
You
a villa
get
in these countries.
what you pay
Right.
for also.
I would love if that statue was actually from TJ Maxx
And they were lying.
and they just put it in the case and they were like, it's priceless.
Well, if she's only paying $7,000 for it, if that's what the 6,200 euros is for, then it probably is. But I don't know. I just think the whole thing sounds
A little insane.
dumb.
Also, word to the wise for everybody, go get business insurance, go get liability insurance. Because
insurance,
if Uncle
that's
Bob trips over your camera bag, they're coming for the venue.
Yep.
The venue's coming for you.
Yep.
And it's just get fucking insurance. So, and get your permits if you're going to like work professionally in another country.
Yep.
Just in case. Anyways, I think that's all we have for you guys today. I really appreciate you joining along. Thanks for joining another cocktail hour. I don't know if I normally say anything after that because I don't have the document.
Make sure you're following along on Instagram at cocktailhour.podcast. The link is in our submission, or the link to submit is in our bio. Everything is anonymous. However, if you don't mind your voice being on the pod, we talked about this last episode, feel free to send us a DM with a voice memo up to 1 minute long of any hot takes, questions, grievances, whatever you got. We want to hear from you.
Agreed. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.